Michigan's rock station. Q106.
Dirk Manning has entered the dojo. And, sir, you're going to be entering Lansing here next weekend, man. Capital City Comic-Con. So, first question for you, Dirk. Are you a Michigan native?
I grew up in southern Detroit, aka Toledo.
I grew up in. I spent my formative years in Cincinnati, Ohio, and
Right on, yeah.
Still a long-suffering Bengals fan. Who Day, everybody, that too. But yeah,
but you know, you have Skyline Chili and you have Grater's ice cream, so
you know
kind of evens out, right?
This guy gets it. This guy gets it. Skyline Chili, ambrosia of the freaking gods, man. Absolutely.
So good. I don't get down that way enough to get it in my travels, but when I do, it's just like I eat like a wild animal.
Right, like a jackal on the plains of the Serengeti.
Yeah.
Go down on the chili spaghetti. I'm telling you, right?
That's it. Like, just give it to me. Like, give it to me in a trough, and I'll just, like, you know.
When I moved to Lansing, the first thing I did was look up what the closest Skyline Chili was to me, and it's in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's 2 hours away, and I absolutely made that trip.
Absolutely. Yeah. Fort Wayne's a big comic town in a lot of ways. So, yeah, I'm with you.
For sure. Now, Dirk, you obviously you're the guy behind Tales of Mr. Rhee, Nightmare World. I mean, your credits are a mile long, man. But this all had to start somewhere. When did you become such an aficionado of the horror genre?
You know, I grew up a horror baby, and I really give a lot of credit to my great grandma, who, when I was little, we used to watch The Twilight Zone together.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so to me, that was like a very formative thing for me. And then I think you combine that with the fact that I always grew up a very voracious reader. So it was a situation where, you know, I grew up reading stuff like, you know, like your Stephen King and Edgar Allan Poe and things like that. And on top of that, my parents were like rock and roll parents. So like I was listening like Alice Cooper and Black Sabbath and stuff. And I was just the more I think about like family nights at my house, like, oh, let's watch, you know, it's like Friday night family night. We watch a horror movie. It just has kind of been the thing since the beginning. So I've always been just seeped in horror. In fact, funny story, and this is true. And sometimes people try to call BS on this. And I swear to you, looking you right in the virtual eye, this is true. When I was in kindergarten, you know, you have to take nap time, right?
Yeah.
And I was not a big nap person. So for some reason or another, I always got like stuck like in the back corner, story of my life, but back corner. And I remember just sitting there, like looking up on the little cot, right? And it was the Edward Gorey Ghastlyville Tinies poster, which is like the ABCs of all these kids basically meet horrific deaths. And sometimes I have the books in right here. And for years, I would try to, and like every day I'm just in like looking at this poster for like a year or whatever it was in kindergarten. Mm-hmm. For years, I tried to explain to people, this is pre-internet. I'm like, you understand, when I was little, my kindergarten, they had this poster in like this dark corner of the room in the back of like all these kids being murdered at the alphabet. They're like, oh, you're full of it, whatever. And it wasn't until I was in college that I finally rediscovered the poster. And it was like one of those things, like I was afraid to walk away from it, right? Because I'm like, if I leave and like come back to show someone it's there, it's going to be like in Sesame Street, like the Snuffleupagus, like he's gone again.
Right.
So it's just been this thing that horror has been a big part of my life, I guess, what I've wanted to all my life. And now here I am, going on 23 years as a horror author.
But you clearly come by it honestly, man. You have such respect for the genre as well. And it had to have been so huge for you to work with the Lon Chaney estate on London After Midnight. How much of a thrill was that for you, man?
Oh, dude. You know, the Dirk Manning avatar, you know, the guy in the top hat and the scarf is based on, or an homage to, the man in the beaver hat from London After Midnight. So to get to a point in my career where just through networking and connections with other people I worked with, that I then got to hook up with Ron Chaney of Chaney Entertainment and bring London After Midnight to life as a graphic novel, and become friends with Ron too. In fact, I have a call with him later this afternoon. You know, it's just one of those things that just, it blows my mind, man. You know, and as a horror fan, that's like the holy grail, right? That's like one of those films that people still say to this day, somebody somewhere has a copy. And I'm kind of like, if the Chaney estate doesn't have it, I'm just putting it out there. Plus the fact that it's probably would be deteriorated to nothing by now. So yeah, our Kickstarter backers, we brought that book to life through Kickstarter. The Kickstarter backers will be getting their graphic novels by the end of the month. There's a small chance I'll even have copies of the official graphic novel adaptation of London After Midnight at Capital City Comic Con in a week and a half. So we'll
Hell
we'll, we'll
yeah.
see how fast we can get them shipped out, but that's not out of the realm of possibility.
Very cool, man. And another thing I noticed in your bibliography, so you're a pro wrestling mark, I'm guessing, because you've got a couple of big ones here, man. The Butts and Seats, the Tony Schiavone story,
Yep.
and Arn Anderson, My Life as the Enforcer.
Mhm.
Okay, man, I gotta know. Favorite wrestler? Can you even pick one?
It's got to be the Undertaker. I
that,
mean,
that's scam.
obviously, gotta be the Undertaker. He mixed horror and wrestling, doing my favorite things, and just the degree to which he honored his image and his persona for his whole career was remarkable, So yeah, I'm a huge wrestling fan. To get to work with Tony and then to get to work with Arn, what a life. It's just been so wild to get to do so much creator own stuff, but then you dabble into working with the Chaney estate or Tony and Arn or most recently Josh Malerman or Twisted, all but then still get to weave through and get to do my own crazy stuff that I'm doing too. And a medium that I love has just been amazing.
I'm glad you brought up Twisted, Detroit's own Twisted. We're big fans of them here on Michigan's Rock Station Q106.
Yes.
So how'd you hook up with these guys, man? Were you at a gathering at some point? Were you wearing the face paint and spraying Fago around? Was that a thing for you?
Well, before I started writing comics, I was a music journalist. So I used to work very closely with ICP back in the day.
Oh, okay.
So I did a lot of work with them. I then moved over into doing comic books and stuff like that after I quit music journalism when I got a face-to-face interview with one of my musical heroes, which was Mike Patton, which was
Oh, wow.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Like
pretty
on my
big.
desk, like right here, there's like a picture of me and Mike Patton, and like that was it. Getting a face-to-face with him in Michigan right before that legendary Mr. Bungle Red Hot Chili Peppers Halloween show. But anyway, sorry. Then I was out. Then I got the comics. So I was out of the music scene for quite a while in a professional capacity, and one of my publishers I worked with got a hold of me and said, "Dirk, I got this band that wants to do a comic book, and I think you'd be perfect for what they want to do but it's not metal because I'm mainly known as a metal guy, right?"
Mm.
And I go, "Well, who's the band?" And he goes, "Well, it's Twisted." And I just started laughing, and I'm like, "No problem, man. Set it up. Let's talk." Because I knew Twisted when they were still kind of like the proteges of ICP when they were even back before when they were House of Crazies, right? Now I had never talked to Twisted at the time, so but again, it's one of these weird full circle moments, right? Where my love of music and stuff like that then blended into my love of comics. I'm lucky enough to count the M&E crew as friends, and I've become friends with so many of the members of the culture there and stuff like that. And yeah, we ended up like racking up like 4 Ringo Award nominations for the 2 graphic novels we did together. I attend their convention Astronomicon every year. Um, so again, just such what a career, man. It's just wild, It's like when I sit here and talk to someone about it, it's just crazy when you think about all the stuff you get to do. And it's something I try to do more nowadays is step back and just appreciate the fact that, yeah, worked with Twisted. We did an award nominated graphic novel twice, worked with Arn, worked with Tony, worked with Josh Malerman, worked with Lon Chaney Estate. And then again, get to do all my own creator own stuff and then get to come to conventions like Capital City and see people there and hang out and do panels and really just live the dream a little bit. It's pretty humbling.
Hell yeah, man! That's incredible. I mean, with all of these accolades you've received, with all these bucket list projects you've already had, do you still have a white whale out there as far as projects? You're like, one day I will do the thing.
My ultimate white whale really involves my creator-owned work, I think more than anything.
Hmm.
I have so much time and so much capacity and certain books I want to do. Tales of Mystery is one of my favorites. This fall we're launching the volume for the 6th volume of that. Um, Finishing Tales of Mystery is I think one of my biggest goals, and I'm not going to say when it's going to end, but there is a finite point to that series. As people that read the series will know, it's a horror book and it's going to go so far. That's a big one, but ultimately my bucket list items I think are more more creator owned centric with things that I want to do for myself. But working on some of these other projects are just incredible cherries on top. If you had told me 22 years ago, one day you're going to bring London After Midnight back to life, like, get out of here. There's no way.
Right.
You know? So those things, I try not to chase them. And honestly, I tend to say no to things more than I tend to say yes to things. My natural disposition to any external project is to say no, but then consider what would make it a yes.
Yeah.
Because that allows me to filter out a lot of noise. A lot of times people chase a lot of things that they next thing you know, they've spent months or years chasing a project. I'd rather just do the project and do the things I want to do. And then if something comes up and I'm like, okay, if it meets these criteria, we can do it. And that's when you meet like-minded people too, that are on the same page as you.
Right.
I'm not interested in arguing or fighting about it. I want this to be a positive, joyous experience for myself, for my readers, for my co-creators, for everybody.
As a professional creative person, I find that I have to ask myself when it comes to projects, because people want your time, they want your talents, they want your abilities. You have to ask yourself, is this the highest and best use of my time? I only
Right.
have so much of it. It's got to be something that I believe in and have a passion for, because otherwise you're just not going to get the best of me, And I won't disfavor your project by bringing a lesser version of myself to it. If I don't buy in, you're gonna have to find somebody else to work with.
That's exactly right, brother. That's exactly right. And again, I want it whether I'm doing a creator-owned horror comic or a wrestling comic or whatever it may be. If the name Dirk Manning is on it, it has to hurt us. It has to hold a certain amount of value and a certain amount of quality as well. And that value comes from that quality, right? I mentioned Tales of Mystery a moment ago. I would love to do a Tales of Mystery graphic novel every year. I'm more like on every 2 year schedule on that particular book because I want it to be just right. Because once the book comes out, it's forever, right? If the
Mm,
earth swallows me tomorrow, my library is going to exist, right?
right.
And that's the thing that's most important to me is making sure that anything with my name on it is of a very high quality. So to your point, that's why I have to be selective about what I do. And I've turned down a lot of things that maybe I shouldn't have, but at the same time, I'm very happy with what I've done. So that's the trade.
With the body of work that you've created for Tales of Mr. Rhee, I mean, it's only a matter of time before somebody wants to put this into an animated or even a live action version. Should the live action version hit your table, who would you love to see play the main character?
I don't know if he has aged out yet, but oh my gosh, what was his first name? Dunbar Rockman, the guy, the sheriff from Sons of Anarchy.
Ooh, okay.
He
All
he
right.
he is my guy, and he put me on the spot, and I'm so bad with names, I totally blanked out on it. But when I was watching Sons of Anarchy for the first time, and he popped up on the screen, I literally like jumped off the couch, and I'm like, "That's Mr. E!"
Oh, man.
His demeanor and everything. A lot of people, yeah, people always fan cast work and stuff like that, but he would be the guy. I don't know if he's aged out or not. And some other people have mentioned other actors over the years, and but like fantasy world, right? Like if I could like pluck him and put him there, that would be it. But he just had the stoicism and that everyman nature to him. And Mystery's a character that it's a horror noir series. People haven't read it, so it's got a lot of those noir past vibe to it,
Mhm.
but a lot of monsters, a lot of action. And Mystery's a guy who tends to say more by not saying anything. So you need that stoicism to him.
So we're going to chase down that version of him. Okay. Do some time travel. You don't
Yes,
chase projects, but how I did see that you chase down ice cream. Like
yes.
working your way through the best ice cream shops in the world. Okay. So when you're judging the quality of an
Mhm.
ice cream shop, what's your litmus test?
How it makes you feel when you take the first bite.
Hmm. Okay.
It's like, is this something that's really refreshing or very flavorful or just very filling? Those are the things. Because, we'll give two examples that are, kind of from where you grew up, right? Um, Grater's ice cream has that black raspberry chip.
Oh,
It
yes,
is a
it is.
purple ice cream with like soft chunks of chocolate in it. It's incredible. Incredible. One of the best flavors of ice cream I've ever had. I'm not really not a fruity ice cream guy per se, but then you got someone like Jenny's, who's based in Columbus, Ohio. Jenny's is always knocking out some of the best flavored ice creams ever. And my rule with Jenny's is like the weirder it sounds, the more you have to try it, right? They get like if they oh, a pink bubblegum ice cream, okay, a pine needle, like okay, whatever it may be, so there's different things to it. But to me, it's like it's hard to be mad. It's hard to have a bad day when you're eating ice cream, right? So
You're not
that's the
sitting there.
thing. It's like if I take that first bite, if it doesn't move me in some fashion, then it's probably not something I'm going to go back to.
It's tough to be miserable eating an ice cream cone. It really is.
Yeah, yeah. Or when they're depressed, to eat ice cream, it makes you feel better, right?
Right.
And doing conventions and things like that. I joke around for years. People that have followed my work for years know I talk about ice cream for breakfast. Because like, what's the difference between ice cream and cereal, right? It's all
Right.
sugar and milk anyway. But for lunch, it just powers you through the day when you're doing a convention all day, or you've been signing books, talking to people all day at a convention. Go get some ice cream, just to like balance your blood sugar almost.
Right.
It's like, okay, dessert first. Now we can go eat. I'll go eat our 10 o'clock at night dinner or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah, you got to have some carbs to burn off throughout the day. I'm a type 1
Right.
diabetic, so I have to look at the carbohydrate count of
Oh,
every single
sure.
damn thing I eat. So yes, carbs early, then you can eat healthy the rest of the day. Easy
That's
enough.
exactly right. That's exactly right.
So have you visited the Lansing area before?
Yeah, this is my first time back to the convention since 2019. So
Oh
I am
wow, man. Okay.
so looking forward to be back. It was such a memorable time last time I was there. I had so much fun at the convention. So yeah, but it's been a minute, which is weird because, I mean, it's a semi-local type show for me, but I know the people that run the show. I've been very excited to continue to see their growth. I was happy to be there early on, and I'm happy to be back at this point with just a whole array of new books and things like that, and see people who I haven't seen in a while. It's gonna be a blast.
Very cool, man. Now, Dirk, I know you got a lot of stuff going on. You got to talk with Chaney's
Yeah,
descent there. So I got one more question for you.
yeah, buddy.
What is on Dirk Manning's playlist when he's creating?
Gosh, that is very much a project by project thing. And what's interesting is Mr. Rhee's been a topic of a big conversation during this. Like when I write Tales of Mr. Rhee, I might be listening to some older, softer music, like Tales of Mystery Volume 2 was written almost exclusively to like the Civil Wars, right?
Okay.
Which is like if people know it's like this like acoustic guy girl band, But then like that volume is like about the systematic murder of children through the Armageddon is like taking a cross country road trip through like a demonic hellscape, So I'm like writing this stuff and it's just like, the soft little music. But by and large, I tend to be I'm a metalhead at heart, but I also it's pretty eclectic what I listen to. And people say, oh, everyone says that. I'm like, no, if you ever take a road trip with me, you'll get whiplash if not from my driving from my playlist. But who I've been rocking right now a lot is Ghost.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
my gosh, Ghost is just and again talk about like the I guess we talk about the white whale. It's not a white whale now because the whale is gone. I had two face-to-face meetings with Papa, with Elias,
Oh.
about doing a comic. He didn't break character either time, so it was very hard to work with him. The second time I got a little bit farther and then he ended up going with a different we never got to the point to have that conversation because they blew up at that point. It's like
Oh yeah.
what I'm going to be able to offer through Source Point Press, who's a Saginaw-based company, is different than like a Dark Horse or an Image or something. But Ghost's new stuff's been rocking. I'll always listen to anything that Mike Patton puts out. That last Mr. Bungle album, which is a re-release of some of their old like speed metal thrash stuff, blows me away. Uh, can't go wrong with Metallica. Can't go wrong with System of a Down. But that tends to be where I tend to sit.
Yeah, my metal is my default mode. I branch
Yep.
out into other things. I'll
Yep.
listen to Hall and Oates. They make my dreams come true. I can go for that. Yes, can do. But
Absolutely. Right. Right.
but it
Right.
always comes back to crunchy guitars and lots of yelling. So
That's exactly it. It's very cathartic. It's like I've been kind of a little bit of a Sabbath kick, knowing that their last performance is coming up. You know, but yeah, metal, like you said, metal's my default. I'm a metal guy at heart, but then sometimes I'll put in Neil Young, sometimes I'll put in Eminem, right? It just put in Twisted, of course. I mean, gosh, the evolution of their catalog's been incredible. So
oh yeah.
just, but like you said, tends to be heavy with lots of guitars is kind of where I tend to sit.
Hell yeah. Fam, that is Dirk Manning. Check out his bibliography. It is phenomenal. If you love horror, if you love wrestling, if you love just badass work, man. Dirk Manning, you can meet up with him. Capital City Comic Con coming your way next weekend at the Lansing Center. Dirk, all the best to you, man. Safe travels during convention season.
I appreciate you so much. And like you said, people can check out more at dirkmanning.com, and I will see everybody at Capital City very soon.
Michigan's Rock Station. Q106.